Debt,
Neutral.
money,
Fabulous.
stress.
Neutral. That, if you'd asked me those questions 5 years ago, you would have got a different answer. Just my relationship with money is very different from other people. So I personally think it's very healthy, and people think I'm very weird. I don't stress about money. I have no attachment to possessions anymore. I've understood and learned the reasons why I did certain things in life were because I was unhappy. I was trying to escape the life that I had.
Hi, Christina. Thank you so much for being on the Money series. I want to start by playing a game, and we'll do intros afterwards because
Cool.
people will hang about. They'll get to know you. So, are you ready for a game?
Yeah, come on. This would be cool.
Okay. It's word association. I'll
Okay.
say some words, and you'll respond with the first thing that comes into your mind. And I don't plan the words; they just come to me, whatever is coming up in that moment. Travel,
Freedom.
life,
Intensely beautiful.
children,
An absolute delight.
debt,
Neutral.
money,
Fabulous.
stress.
Neutral.
Nothing stood out for me. Did anything stand out for you emotionally?
That, if you'd asked me those questions 5 years ago, you would have got a different answer.
How come?
I think definitely now I'm living in the present moment. I've learned to do that and not stress about the future. So I do have business debt because I pummeled everything into setting my practice up again, but I'm not going to freak out about it because I know that, when I set up in 2018, I did the same thing. I've come back to work and I will cover it. It will get paid off. So I don't get stressed by that. And because I believe in investing in ourselves, and that will come back to us. In terms of stress, I've had an incredible amount of stress in my life because I've experienced trauma and abuse. However, having worked through that, I have built a greater capacity and capability to deal with stress. I don't react to it anymore. Most people will view my life as being stressful. I don't really feel that stress anymore. I just feel it's like an energy necessary to propel me forwards to do the work that I'm here to do and to serve the clients that I work with. So yeah, if you'd asked me several years ago before I'd worked for myself, I wouldn't have even been on this podcast. I wouldn't have even showed up. I wouldn't have even reached out and said I want to be on a podcast.
Wow. What is your relationship with money?
I personally think it's very healthy, and people think I'm very weird. They think I'm weird because I don't stress about money. I do spend a lot of money on my own personal development and my business, and people are like, aren't you worried that you're going to run out? Just my relationship with money is very different from other people. So I come from a family who, they're very careful with their money. They don't need to be. My family's not poor, but they have come from a place where there were financial struggles, especially my father. He's lost things where in Cyprus, where they came to London, like the majority of a Greek Cypriot family, having lost their land in the Turkish invasion. So they're very scared. They have money, but they cling on to it. They cling on and cling on and cling on to it. I'm not like that. And my parents always would say, we don't know how you're our daughter because you have a very different relationship with money.
It has always been like that? Your relationship has always been that different? Did you feel like there was a transition at some point?
I don't know. I actually reflected on this a while ago. So I don't know. I reflected on this, and I've always worked since the age of 17. So I've always had my own money, and I've always been able to financially. So I think I've just had money and used it for my education and, treated myself because I earned it. I felt like I could spend it on myself because I worked intensely hard to earn that money and get my promotions. So no, I have reflected on that, and I don't see that there was a specific transition. I think I've had to learn to be better with my money now because I'm a single mum and I can't sort of spend on the sort of things I used to. So I've had to adjust my spending and say I'd rather spend it on my business and my personal development and having a coach and being in a community than maybe, like, I don't desire certain things anymore. So I don't desire designer handbags, or I don't care that my house isn't designed in the way that I want it yet, or I don't care that I don't drive a German car anymore. So I suppose that's a transition, right? That's the point where I used to have possessions. And part of that, I suppose, was maybe to make myself feel better or different because life at points was difficult in my marriage and stuff, and that's a form of escapism. So if there has been a change, that's the change really. I don't need those things, so I don't accumulate them anymore.
You mentioned that it might have been a source of escapism. Can we go into escaping from what?
Just escaping from the life that, the marriage that I had. I would, take myself off to very expensive spas. I would be members of like top London spas. I would go to very fancy restaurants. And it was really just that was creating a kind of lifestyle separate from what was going on at home. Of course, my ex-husband came with me on some of those things, luxury holidays and stuff like that. But it was kind of just trying to create a different environment. Whereas now I'm much more about integrating everything together. So integrating home, work, life all together instead of trying to, I don't need to separate them anymore. I'm content with life.
When you're spending on yourself, regardless of when it is now or whether it was over 5 years ago, did you ever find yourself having to justify because you said like, oh no, I've earned this money, so therefore I can. Did you ever find yourself justifying it to yourself more than the norm? Like, no, I'm allowed to do this because I did actually earn this, so therefore I deserve it. What was the narrative around the spending?
So I remember getting a very large bonus. I was actually on maternity leave and I was like, wow, got several thousands of pounds while I was on maternity leave. I didn't expect that for the work that I put in. Mm-hmm. And I sort of said to myself, should I save it because I'm on maternity leave? I don't know what's going to happen. Am I going to go back? And I thought, no, why? I earned that. And I walked into the Mulberry store and bought myself the handbag I wanted. And I was like, no, that's the bag that I wanted. I think if I got a 6,000 bonus now or a 7,000 bonus now, I think it was around 6 or 7, which was really nice because we never got bonuses, to be honest, in the company that I worked for. So, and obviously the bag did not cost that much, but I wouldn't spend it on a bag, to be honest. I wouldn't spend it on a possession.
Why?
I just don't need it. It means nothing to me. I have no attachment to possessions anymore. Literally, I've understood and learned the reasons why I did certain things in life were because I was unhappy. I was trying to escape the life that I had. I was trying to be somebody that people want you to be. So when you work in consultancy and you sort of have the leadership role, you've got to look the role, you've got to look the part, you've got to wear the outfit, you've got to do your hair a certain way, you've got to show up a certain way. And I've just through doing the healing work and working on myself and going quite deep, I just show up as I feel like in the moment. Like today, I feel good. I'm going to feel fresh and put some makeup on. I mean, I'm still wearing my yoga pants because I didn't want to put things on, didn't want to restrict myself. But, and then sometimes I turn up and I'm like, I got a bit of a migraine. Don't fancy slapping on the makeup. So very much live in the present moment and just sense how I'm feeling in that moment.
Christina, tell us what you do.
So I'm a coaching psychologist and people don't really know what that means. And so I'll just explain what that means briefly. I've been a psychologist all my adult life, clinically practice. So we've got different types of psychologists. I use psychology and evidence-based sort of approaches and methods and even some therapeutic models of work, but I use that within a coaching framework to help people get unstuck now in this present moment and move them forwards. And that because I use psychology and evidence-based methods and approaches, I'm more able to get people to their resolution at a more sustainable pace and for it to be more transformational and lasting, because I know what works for whom within which context and why, and that's very, very critical. And that also comes from the 25 years of experience I have of having to learn and gain insights working with vast population groups, not just within the UK healthcare system, but internationally. Mm-hmm. So I've really understood, I've run evaluations, I've tested different approaches over and over again. And so I've accumulated that knowledge and I now just work one-to-one with clients. I no longer work with organisations on projects. I take that work into my client work. So that's what I do. So working with me feels quite therapeutic, but it's not therapy. It is very much coaching, a coaching relationship.
Love that. From your professional capacity of what you've seen, what you've known, and your own experiences, why do you think people don't like to talk about money?
They feel awkward. I can see it in the individuals that I mentor and supervise, the helping professionals, the other coaches, psychologists and practitioners. They go like this when we're going to talk about it. When I challenge them about charging such little amounts of money, they feel they're not worthy. They feel they haven't learnt enough. They feel they're not good enough. They feel they're not giving enough value. Even when the client feedback is saying, you're incredible, it's amazing. I have one client who has ended up with a client who books them twice a week because they're fantastic, but she will not charge more. And she needs to do, some work on herself, and she knows that. It's about it's not being comfortable with it. It's all about the self-worth.
So I'm trying to get to the root of that. Where is the discomfort? Like, what do you think is the reason for the discomfort?
You can always pin it back to childhood.
Yeah, I know.
How we were socialized by our parents and our environment to view money. So a lot of people that I work with come from cultural backgrounds like myself, where, we came to London or to England to create a better life because we didn't have, they didn't have the money back home, and they had to hustle very hard. They had to really earn it and prove their worth, really, really work hard. I know my dad's worked ridiculous hours to get to where he's got to, and sacrificed and burnt out, and many other people as well. And I think we, as children, we see this, we're exposed to this, and this is carried. And also, I don't know about your parents, but my parents would say, money doesn't grow on trees. They would reinforce it continuously, like it's so hard to get, it's just, and you have to cling on to it and you have to keep it. And then we have this really unhealthy relationship with money. And also a lot of people that I work with have this like, oh, well, they couldn't afford it, and I don't think they can afford it, and I don't want to put them under any financial pressure, and, feeling sorry for the other person, very empathetic. And I also get comments that say that my gifts are not just for the rich, they're for the poor too. I get that a lot. And other therapists and coaches get that as well. So then in adulthood, we're bombarded with these messages as well.
But I want to challenge you a little bit, because your parents have a completely different mindset to money and yours is different. So yes, you're saying that it depends on the childhood. And I'll take myself as an example. So my mum is the frugal one. She's the one who will hold on to money. She comes from a more poor background. My dad comes from a middle upper class background. I was raised middle class. If I were to ask my dad for money, he'd be like, here you go. But he wants me to spend it on quality. That was his thing. Like, don't waste it. So if I would ask my mum for money, she'd just say no. So I knew where to go. And I have never had a problem asking for money. I'm like, oh yeah, we have it. Oh, can you send me? I was at university. I was such a spoiled brat. Like, my siblings are not like me. I was spoiled. I'm like, oh, I need some more money. I've used it. Can you please send me some more? I was that person. My sister, she worked her ass off. She's like, I'm getting a job. I want my own money. I want independence. I'm going to earn it.
Yes.
My brother, he thinks, I shouldn't be so mean to my brother. We have, brother-sister relationship. But for the longest time, he thought that money grew on trees. Like, really, he's like, oh yeah, because you know how I always asked for money and I got it. I also knew when not to ask. I'm like, oh yeah, financial climate is a little bit tough right now. The dot-com boom bubble thing happened, and then my parents lost a lot of money, so I had the foresight to not ask at that point. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just be a little bit more careful with it. But my brother had a completely different way of being around money. So we're three individuals brought up by the same parents with three very different money mindsets. I'm a big spender. My sister won't spend on herself. My brother didn't have the understanding of like how to actually manage money, because he just thought it will just replenish by his parents whenever he wanted. Challenging you a bit, you're saying, and I agree with you, but I just like the conversation, our childhood does impact how we are around money. But your parents, you said it yourself, were so different. They're like, oh, how are you, our child? You're so different with money. How would you respond?
It's interesting because I never asked my parents for money. I mean, they did pay for my university education, and I worked as well and contributed, and they have given me money, but I don't ask for it. I just go out and get it. And I think it's because I saw my dad having to go out and get it. I knew that it wasn't going to be put on a plate, and I had to go and ask for it. Don't get me wrong, it was uncomfortable asking for a pay rise. I'm not going to lie. I have been through a bit of, am I worth it? I put in all the hours to get the promotions and stuff. I would ask for it. It'd be a bit painful and uncomfortable, but I'd move through it, because at the end of the day, I was young and I had a mortgage to pay. One thing my dad did do was make me get a property at the age of 23, and I ended up with a mortgage that I couldn't pay on the salary that I was on. And I said, Dad, what am I going to do? And he's like, go get another job. What do you mean, what you got to do? You got bills to pay now. My dad wanted to make me independent.
Yeah.
and, you know, fully independent as soon as I got out. Literally, as soon as I completed my master's, he's like on the property ladder now. It was uncomfortable. I have had moments where I felt I wasn't worth it. I've gone, but I just the sort of person that will push through it, even though it's uncomfortable. It's like, oh, he's grating up against me, but I've got to do it because I've got to earn more money. I've got to survive. I've got to get to where I want to get to. It's a lot easier now, having done the work on myself. I think also maybe there was a bit of a rebellion in me as well. I didn't want to be like mum and dad. I didn't want to live the life that they had.
Yeah.
Where they just don't buy themselves anything, don't have any, okay, you don't have to buy yourself stuff, but don't even like do certain things that I think might be beneficial to them because they're so like, don't spend money. I don't want to be like that. I wanted to go explore the world. I had to earn money for that.
What is the current drive for money? Is there?
I think the current drive is probably more about giving my daughter a future that I want her to have. Financial freedom means different things to different people. For me, it's just to do the things I enjoy. Money is important. Yeah, we need to pay the bills and stuff, and we want to give our children the best, whatever it is that you want to give them, their education, extracurricular opportunities, whatever it is, right? But ultimately, for me, it's about living a life that I have designed for myself, and one needs money to do that in some respects. I enjoy traveling, I enjoy exploring, so does my daughter. I like having different types of lived experiences in different cultures, and she enjoys that too. And I like to immerse myself in different environments, and maybe it's like specific types of music and art, and some of that requires money to do it. So, you know, that's really what it is. It's no longer the drive for the mansion with the swimming pool. And that was a real drive that my ex-husband and I had. I think more his drive actually, and I sort of went along with the ride. But there was like this drive for power and control and the mansion and hosting the parties. And I don't need any of that. I just want to have fun and have a nice time with my daughter and have all those beautiful lived experiences.
That's such a beautiful note to kind of end on. I love having these conversations. We learn from each other all the time. And if the listeners, if you've had any insights that you want to share from this, please do comment below. Christina, you're a wonderful guest. Thank you for coming to talk to me about money.
Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity, Ivy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.